This is the Roundtrip bike duffel, and it is amazing. Moreover, it is amazing when it is paired with the Thule Roundtrip bike bag 55 liter. They work in perfect concert, and I had the opportunity to use these on a flight recently, and I can tell you that as a system, it is fantastic. However, as a consumer, I was trying to find out more information about the Thule Roundtrip bike case, and I think there's very little information out there that actually tells you what it is, how it works, the pros and cons, and spoiler, it is great. But the purpose of this video is to walk you through it bit by bit to show you how it works, because there is a lot of really unique aspects to this particular product that you're gonna wanna know. If you have not already seen my video on the Thule Roundtrip bike duffel, be sure to go check that out, because that is another amazing product as well. And again, it'll help you contextualize how you can use this yourself. But let's talk about this. This, as mentioned, is the Thule Roundtrip bike case. And it is feature-packed and a lot better than even I thought it was going to be. Starting right here on the top, something that you'll notice is this handle is used for loading when it is erected, but it is also in the perfect position to actually carry and stow when it's in its folded up position. I mean, how smart is that? You'll also notice that at one end, there is a wheel on a caster, and this wheel is actually removable. On the bottom, it is a full one-piece plastic construction with two wheels with rubberized tread on it. So it is actually nice and grippy, and it does track really well. Similarly, the caster here at the front does have rubberized wheels. It is exceptionally strong and robust, and the side materials are actually really hard as well. This is what perhaps surprised me the most, because I, in truth, was expecting a bag that was going to have sort of, soft, flimsy, dare I say even just, fiber-filled sides, but this is actually a hard, protective, it's a soft, hard folding bike bag. I would categorize this, I would put this in the category, that is to say, as a soft sided bag, even though it does have the inserts, simply just because it's not like a two-piece clamshell design that I would consider to be a traditional hard case. If we flip the case this way, you can see at the top, the actual bag is secured down in its stowed position with two straps with G-hooks. And if you've watched any of my other videos before in the past, you know how much I love G-hooks. They're very simple, easy to use, and strong. So if we go ahead and loosen and unhook these straps and their respective G-hooks, you're gonna see another really cool feature. So here there is a flap that is held down with a hook and loop sections ×3. And if we take the straps, we can fold them down, one this way, and we can take the other strap, we can fold it down in the other way. And now these straps that are used only for securing it when it is in its closed position are nice and neatly tucked away. From here, we can go ahead and start to unfold the actual bag. So I'm gonna try to do my best to flip it open so you can see. There we go. Not lose the mic in the process, and flip it open. On the inside, you can see that the bag is lined in the same material that you'll find in the dirty clothes compartment of their bike duffel. Up here at the top, there are two pockets, one and, come on now, and they have some nice gusseting here on the top pocket. So this is where you would store your pedals and or tools. And again, gusseting here to expand and zipper to close. So two really nice pockets, big grab handles to work on there. We go ahead and we can unfold the bike case down this side, and you can see it sort of starting to take shape. Once more, same sort of tarpaulin-like material here. On the inside, there's nice padding that secures around the bike itself, and they've also taken care to label. So this is a front wheel. And the reason being is where the actual cassette protection is going to go. So this is for the front wheel. There's a couple hook and loop straps there that we'll get to later. And this one says rear wheel. There are a couple of bags, or one bag I should say. I've included some bubble wrap. I'll show you why in a bit. And we have these. Now, when you're transporting the bike, these actually have a nice little home. These rods will slide into their little elastic straps here. However, when you are stowing the bag, then they will not fit in that spot, or at least I was not able to get the bag to fold up with them in that spot. So I simply put them into the bottom of the bag loose. We'll set those along to the side as well. In the bottom of the bag, you can see again, there is an attachment. In the instructions, it does actually say to stow this loose again for purposes of long-term storage, but this will actually stow neatly on here when you are transporting your bike, and I'll show you that in a bit. Last but not least, we have the actual bike frame assembly itself, and there's a little kind of like pull tab here, and that's actually, oops, what releases it. So this is how you build up your, or where you would attach your bike. You notice here there is QR20, but you have multiple different spots for different wheel sizes and configurations, and you can simply use this adapter tool to rotate and lock into configuration. So if you have like a road bike with a QR10 or something like that, different type of skewer, then this is how you would adjust that. You can also flip this lever and bring it in for shorter wheelbase bikes, but we will be taking advantage of the full length here. So now that we have the actual bike tray removed, we're gonna go ahead and just slide the actual pack off to the side just for now. So we'll just give this a quick fold. We'll definitely be getting back to that later. There we go. And we're gonna build up the bike stand. So that uses this right here. This is a, let's call it hub assembly. And we're gonna take the feet, making sure that the little feeties are gonna be angled out. We don't want it like this, but we want it to be sitting flat like that. So they insert into the bottom here. We're gonna do that 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. And there is a dial on the bottom, that little gray handle that you can see here. And we're just gonna go ahead and tighten that in, and that's gonna clamp down these legs and secure it to the actual hub. That's more than appropriate, so you can see nothing's coming out. From here, we can see that there is a cam lock that will tighten in this aluminum piece here. And that aluminum piece locks into the channel on the side of the actual bike frame itself. Personally, I find if you roll in the one side here into the fixed plastic and then down and then flip, that is the best way to do it. Now, you may be tempted to put this in the middle, but keep in mind, you have to actually balance it out relative to where the center of balance for the bike is going to be, which is going to be closer to the actual center. So that may not even be far enough. I'm just going to wing it and say here for now. The bike case does come with a couple of these foamies, and all these do is this is where your bottom bracket is going to sit. So when you put the bike on here, the bottom bracket is going to sit here. So if it's a different size, you can sort of add and remove these at will, but I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to use them all. And there's a nice sort of ratchet strap type thing here that will actually clamp down around the frame. That's where the bubble wrap comes into play that we'll see later. Like the front, there is a flick lever that you orient, but for the actual wheelbase of the bike, this is going to be the best position for it. All right, let's get the bike. Okay, so the next step is we want to secure the bike down to the bike stand, and we're going to do that with this strap here. Now there's a few ways to do it. You can either go over the front or around the back as I'm going to do here. However, one thing you've probably already noticed is that there's going to be direct contact with the frame. Now, I'll go ahead and tighten this down for demonstration purposes. You can see that it's quite a nice tight fit, but if you happen to have like a microfiber towel, or this is where I'm gonna grab that bubble wrap that I talked about earlier. This is just, you know, from a package that I received. You can always put that between the frame and the strap so that you don't, you know, damage your paint. But for purposes of demonstration, I'm just gonna go ahead and secure that down here now. So from here, we move on to removing the rear wheel. We're gonna come around to this side, and if you have like a clutch style derailleur as I do, what you wanna do is just flip the cage forward, press in that lock feature, and that allows you to get a little bit of slack. What'll also help is if you put the derailleur all the way down into the smallest cog, and that'll just give you a lot more room to actually play with. This is a 5mm on the back. If anybody feels like 5mm is too small, let me know, because that's how I feel as well. Especially considering that it's a 6mm in the front. I don't know why rear axles are only 5. I don't know, one of life's great mysteries, I suppose. So we can go ahead and drop that out. Now, for the purposes of safekeeping, I'm just going to go ahead and reinsert this axle. That way I know that it's actually in the frame. It unfortunately doesn't do anything in terms of rear end rigidity because there's not a threaded component here on the non-drive side. So it still could squish in together, but I just like to know that it's there. Now, something we could have and arguably should have done earlier is actually just go ahead and remove the pedals. So I will do that now. There we go, there's the one. Now again, for purposes of demonstration, I'm just gonna set the pedals off to the side, but I do actually have the original little plastic bag that those pedals came in. And even if you don't have that specific bag, you know, something that you could just put all the pedals together in. And then I like to actually stow them in one of those 2 storage compartments on the inside of the actual Roundtrip bike case. So that way it keeps it all together. So now we're actually at the step of the process where we can use this. And this is a stowage bag for the derailleur and the chain component. So that during transit, the components aren't rubbing against your exposed frame. So we will just go ahead and unlock the derailleur here. It's also worth mentioning that on the bag itself, it does depict that they want the crank arm facing rearwards. I'm not 100% certain why that is. I suspect maybe it's to do with the orientation of how the wheels go in. Nevertheless, what we will do is we will tuck this up here. There's a little Velcro here on the back. And what I like to do is, I like to put this up and over the actual frame rail itself, but you can just as easily go under if that's what you feel is going to work in your application. But we're gonna tuck some of this chain up and in here. You can also do kind of like a hybrid of the 2, so tuck that one in behind. This one goes over, again, whatever works best for you. I think for me, we'll just do both of them up top, just like this. So that keeps, you know, all the grease and dirt kind of together in its own little spot. So at this point, I'm just gonna wash the grease off my hands and we'll get ready to stow it into the actual bag itself. So I've prepared the actual bike case by just flipping out the 2 sides and the inner soft panels. And I'm going to do my best to sort of show you this in one fluid movement. But what I'll go ahead and point out is we will grab the bike, release this mechanism here with the gray lever on the back. We're gonna take these 2 front, we'll call them wings here, and they're going to insert into the 2 white sort of C-clip channels on the front of the actual bag itself. So let's do it. Come around, flick the gray lever, kind of rock the bike a little bit toward us, take those wings, align them with the white channels, and that's it. It's actually remarkably easy. So I've gone ahead and repositioned things here for filming, but our next step is actually going to be removing the handlebars here. So that is done on my bike with a 4mm wrench. Now there is a couple of different ways you can do this. I'm choosing to actually just remove the handlebars. If you are really sensitive to like getting your handlebars realigned once you get to your destination, then what you can choose to do is actually remove the stem. And I have seen people actually using a secondary stem just for travel purposes. However, because I'm using the One Up Components EDC top cap, which uses the cassette style tool, I don't feel like bringing that along with a long wrench to actually remove it. So I'm just opting to remove the bars. Yeah, you can do you. One thing that actually might be cool to see in the future would be if you didn't have like the One Up EDC top cap as I do, you know, maybe some people 3D printing some like, you know, 50mm or 45mm spacers that you could just sort of slide in there. But yeah, whatever works best for you. All right, let's pop this back in here so we know where it is. Good. All right. So from here, I am choosing to leave my seat in its upward position, or seat post, I should say, because I think that it actually makes for easier packaging when it's sort of level with the stem. From here, our next step is actually to break down the stand. So it's the same thing, albeit in reverse. Just go ahead, you know, give a few turns and twists to that gray dial underneath. We'll go ahead and remove the legs. This is where it kind of gets really neat, is we can then take this hub assembly, we can roll it onto the bar. Remember it clamped like this when it was in its stand position. We can just clamp it vertically now for transport, like this. And that'll just hang out right there during transport. I think that's such a cool solution to actually stowing and packing that away. Now, do I have the right side? No, I don't. Let's go around to this side here, and you can see this is where these bars go ahead and stow in place. So there is some elastic looping here, looping. There are 6 of them in total. I'm just gonna drape this up here just for the time being while I get this in here. There we go. Okay, so there is some flaps here on the back with hook and loop. This covers the rear triangle. That's nice and secure. Similarly, sorry for walking in front of the camera, there are some straps in the front, but we'll just get this like here for now. Of course, I'm probably making this look a lot more difficult than it actually is, just for trying to demonstrate it, but it's actually a really simple and quick process. Up here in the front, again, there's a flap that comes around the front of the fork, so it's protected here. And you can see there's this nice sort of like cutout area, and that's actually for your cables. Now, let's see if I can reorient this here. So on this side, we can see that there are 2 little straps, and this is for stowing your bars. Now you want to make sure that nothing is above this overall height. So we're going to kind of, you know, tuck the bars down a little bit into the bottom of the case here. There. Haven't done a very good job of attaching these. There we go, that's much better. And we can see here, this is for the rear wheel, and your disc will actually go in this pocket, and there's the front wheel on the other side. So grab our rear wheel, place that in, and then we can see that there are these straps that will secure the wheel to the actual bag. Now, fair question is, does this fit a 29er? I would go ahead and say yes. This is 27.5, so I've oriented one right over top. And then this one you can see is actually sitting up a little bit higher. So I have full confidence that this would fit a 29er. How good is that? I mean, to me, I just think this is such a wonderful, you know, everything is where you want it to be. It's exceptionally well built, and we're almost done. Just go ahead and pop the front tire in on this side. Of course, it has 2 straps of its own to secure down, so I'll just do that now. Apologize, it's out of view. 1 and 2. All right, so we're actually just about done. Comes together really quickly. From here, we could go ahead and store our pedals, tools. This is my pedal bag that the pedals came in. I like to keep it in here because when they're removed, I just don't want to get greasy. Remember to store any liquids greater than 100 milliliters, that sort of thing. So these all go in here. We can see that there is a nice padded component that will sit up against the actual hub for transit purposes. So keep that all nice and secure. And yeah, let's just go ahead and start folding up. Now, you will notice that on this side, there is just a tiny little flange, whereas over here, there's a much deeper flange. I like to start here because what I can do is I can sort of tuck it, you know, up in like this. And then I can bring up this flap and begin to actually close it up. These again are YKK zippers, so great quality, arguably the best zippers, I'd say in the industry, but quite honestly in the world. YKK is a huge company. And again, pro tip, I like to keep all the zipper cars down here. I think that if there's going to be, you know, movement on the top of the bag, the zipper cars might be prone to opening. Granted, they are lockable with a TSA approved lock, but I like to keep the zipper cars down at this end because this is where we have our little wheel. So when we arrive at the airport and we want to, you know, wheel our bag through, grab the amazingly convenient handle right there and put on the caster. When it is time to send it through its oversized baggage compartment, just go ahead, remove the wheel, open up just a little bit. There's the nice little hole here to pop that down, reclose it all, or do better, Colin, and you're good to go. Now, so far as handles and navigation are concerned, once more I'll just pull this little caster out, and I can demonstrate that to you here now. There we go, up, wheel, in, down. So we have 2 handles here on the front, 2 handles here on the back. What I like to do when I'm walking through the airport is grab my wheelie bag in one hand, grab the bike case here, just slipping your hand through. I will wear, again, the Roundtrip bike duffel on my back in its crossbody configuration because it works really, really well, again, as a pair. Once more, if you haven't seen this video, definitely go check it out. But I did talk about this bag in context of, you know, just using it as a duffel. But when we start thinking about it in terms of a travel system, one thing that's really nice is you have your helmet in here and your clothes. And so anything that might be your sunglasses, anything that might be more sensitive to trauma associated with, you know, baggage, checked baggage, it's nice to not have that, especially safety equipment as it pertains to a helmet. So I like to have that on my body. And then, you know, you can stow a couple other little things in here. We can also see that there is that original handle here. This is when it's in that folded up configuration that you can grab. There is not a corresponding handle on the other side, but what I can tell you that is nice is when you're trying to load it up onto those conveyors, you can come in, you can grab this handle and you can lift the whole bike like this. So it is nice to have. Again, there is this handle at the front for, you know, lifting up and down. There is another handle here at the back. So if you want to 2-person carry, you know, loading this in and out of a taxi cab up onto the conveyor, it's all been very, very easy. So the Thule Roundtrip bike duffel, what can I say? I think that it's an absolutely phenomenal product. The actual security that it offers compared to a hard-sided case, yet coupled with the ability for it to stow in a compact configuration where you could slide it maybe under a bed, stand it up, put it into like a storage locker or down in your basement if you have one. I think that that's a really, really nice feature without compromising, really much of anything in terms of protection on the bike. The ease of assembly of the actual bike bag, in terms of having all the straps and pockets exactly kind of right where you'd want them to, is excellent. The removable caster just makes navigating an airport that much easier. And gosh darn it, I just can't get over the bike stand. I think that for a bike travel case to offer the ability for you to actually service and adjust your bike when you're on the road is second to none. It's just unparalleled in the sense that I don't know of any other bike case that can do that, at least not to the same degree that this can. It actually reminds me of when Kuat came out with I believe it was the NV 2.0 hitch-mounted bike carrier, and they had that optional trail dock, which was a telescopic bike stand. And I remember seeing that and just thinking that, what a genius value-added feature where, it would have been fine, or it would have been a great product, that is to say, just as a bike carrier, but to offer that value-added experience of being able to wrench on your bike at the trailhead. It's the same thing here. When you're traveling, you're often traveling, with a pared down kit. I have the small toe peak Torque Wrench Pro. If you haven't seen that video, definitely check that one out. That's another great product, really well engineered. And I think it makes the travel experience and the experience using this product just that much better. So if you have any particular questions about either the Roundtrip bike duffel or bike case, then be sure to let me know in the comments down below. I'd be happy to answer those. If you found this video helpful or informative in any way, please consider giving it a like. And if you like what we're doing here, then please consider sticking around and subscribing, because there's going to be plenty more videos like this to come. So thank you very much for watching. I sincerely appreciate it. You take care, and bye for now.